Good. Thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm Julia and this is Brooke, and we're part of the Streamtime customer success team based in Australia. In this session, our Streamtime 101, we cover everything Streamtime from top to bottom. Whether you're new to Streamtime or just want to refresh, this session will give you a full rundown of how Streamtime works. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. We have a chat section on the right-hand side, so make sure to say hello, let us know where you're from. Any questions you have, just pop those in the chat box. I'll be there monitoring the chat, so hopefully we can answer those as we're going along. If there's any questions that we don't get to, then we'll get back to you after the session.
Great. All right, let's do this. So just before I start sharing my screen, we wanted to touch on why Streamtime is built the way it is. So if you have used other project management tools in the past, you will know that most of them kind of focus on utilization, profitability, and productivity, which are, of course, essential to running a business or an agency. But at Streamtime, we believe they're only half the story. So the main part of your business is the people. So we talk about happier, healthier, creative businesses because we truly think that we can help them to become a reality. We want to help you make a healthy profit, but we don't want to do it at the expense of your people. So all our decisions in Streamtime are made with that in mind. So let's dive in. No one said hello in the chat. Hopefully there's someone here.
I think we've got a few people watching, so that's okay. As long as we've got people watching, I guess that's all that matters.
Ourselves. If any of this sounds a bit rehearsed, it's because I personally have done so many 101s since I started at Streamtime. Just celebrated my Streamtime 2-year anniversary this week. So this is one of my favorite webinars to run because it really does give you everything, but it is a lot. So it's a real quick flash in the pan kind of approach to Streamtime. So apologies if it's a little bit fast. So I'm starting in our jobs list, and this is where we can see all of our live jobs in Streamtime. This is a completely customizable view where I can add columns and filters so that I can see exactly what I need to see across any number of jobs. And this used to be kind of the main way to report across your jobs as well. We've just recently made a huge update to our reporting in Streamtime, which we will hopefully get a chance to show you towards the end. But for now, I am going to show you one of the favorites that I have set up in our jobs list. So this one is for some templates that I've created. Now, another thing that's different about Streamtime from other project management softwares, kind of in line with what I touched on before, is the way that we approach setting up and quoting new opportunities or new jobs. So in other tools, you might quote the project and send your client a proposal. And then at the point that that's approved, you would build it out in your project management software. In Streamtime, everything starts with the job. So for us, if it's a new opportunity that you're quoting, even if it's a client that you've never worked with before, or you're not sure if it's going to go ahead, it's just a job you haven't won yet, as far as we're concerned. So we're not going to show you how to build a job from scratch. We're going to show you how to start from a template, which is what I usually do. And so I'm going to use this brand identity template here. I'm going to duplicate it from the list, and you'll see what it looks like in just a sec. So we are going to do a brand identity. We are going to do it for a brand new company that we've never worked with before, which I am going to call Hay and Sons, my partner's surname. And I'm not going to give it a job number at this stage because I tend to wait until I'm sure that the job's going to go ahead before I do that. What I am going to do is select which parts of the job that I want to bring over. So I want to bring over all of my items. We'll show you what items are in just a sec. I want to bring over my expenses and purchase orders. I want to bring over my team and my posts. And then I want to set a start date. So I'm thinking that I'm quoting this job this week, or I guess we're towards the end of the week, but I'm hoping in some kind of miraculous ideal universe that I'm going to send the quote to the client today and they're going to approve it in time for us to kick it off on Monday. That's what they've told me that they want to do, so I'm going to trust that. So I'm going to set the start date for this job on the 22nd, which is Monday. I hit create and plan and I get a brand new job. Now I am going to take you through what's included here. I was just checking my notes to make sure that I don't just do what I always do. Okay. So this is a brand new job, and you can see what's been included here is all brought over from the template that I had set up. So this boulder heading that you see here is what we call a phase, and a phase is essentially just a group of items. So it doesn't need to necessarily represent a phase in your kind of process, internal process, though it does in this case. It is really a group of items in Streamtime. What is an item? Items are our internal facing time-based deliverables. So these are the items that I've got set up under this phase, homework and workshop. So one important kind of distinction is that in Streamtime, you'll usually set your items up based on a deliverable or a piece of work that you're delivering to your client.
Delivering.
Yep.
Yeah, that works.
Rather than the roles. So some people get stuck on that when they're first starting with Streamtime, that they think that perhaps their items should be account management, creative direction, etc., etc. Sometimes it is, but in most cases, we're going to build out based on our deliverables. There's a few different ways to price an item. Here are the three main ones here. So the first one is a fixed price item. So I sell you one-time homework for $450. The second one is priced by item rate. So this would be, and fixed price item, so I charge you $450 regardless of who works on it and how long it takes. Second one would be I sell you 1 hour of brand positioning for $220 an hour, regardless of who works on it. And in this case, it might be I sell you 20 hours of brand positioning for $220 an hour for a total of $4,400. The third one, which is the one that I use the most often, is what we call price by person. So this is kind of a hybrid of the previous two. I have a team of people, they need different amounts of time to deliver this workshop and they have different rates, but I want that to ladder up to an overall cost that I can share with the client. I don't want them to see a breakdown of every single thing that's involved in delivering it. So you can see here, I've got a 3-hour workshop, and in here I've allowed I've got the 3 hours for everyone. And then I've got a little bit of extra time for the account manager and a little bit of extra time for the designer to prep the deck and deliver it after, which is sort of represented in the hours here. You'll see these are not yet individual team members or specific team members. These are roles. And once the project's approved and I can figure out who is available, I will assign my team members specifically. If we jump down here, you'll see a couple of items haven't been built out in the template. So these are things that are specific to each job potentially, right? So I don't know what that is going to be until I get the brief. But now that I have the brief, I'm pretty confident that this is what's going to be needed. You'll see I've got some templated descriptions here as well. So this I will edit depending on the specifics of the job that I'm quoting. I'm not going to do that now in the interest of time, but just know that they are editable as per the job, because as we know, not every job is the same.
And anything that you edit in this new job that's created, it's not going to affect the template that you've duplicated this job from. So that will remain the same. The things that are changing here are just for this job that you're creating.
Yeah. So now that I've got all of my items built out and I can see the total amount for each item, I can see the total for each phase as well. So if I have a certain budget I'm looking to hit, potentially I only want concept development to be sitting around 20K, I can see that kind of overall total. Up the top here, I can see the overall planned total for the job. So this is 44,000. Now let's take a minute to talk about expenses, because these would be our third-party costs. So anything we sell to our client where the cost to our business is money, we receive an invoice, is going to be an expense. And I have a couple of templated expenses too. Do you want to take us through these, Drew?
Yeah, so expenses, they can be added in really at any stage. So you can add these prior to quoting out your job or after you've had a quote if those expenses are coming in after. To highlight the difference between expenses, purchase orders, and items, Expenses and POs in the job are any hard costs, and items are your time-based deliverables. Sometimes there's some confusion, I guess, between what expenses are and what items are in Streamtime. So once you're happy, I guess, with your job plan, it's time to lock in your budget and check that it lines up with what you've been given by your client. And the best way to lock in your budget is from a quote.
Yeah, great. So when we come to create a quote, we head up to the top right, hit create quote, and you'll see that everything we built out on the job, including those third-party costs that we want to allow for at this stage, are included in the quote, what we call a quote wizard. Now you can go straight to create and edit, or you can continue to settings. When you're first familiarizing yourself with Streamtime, I recommend that you go to the settings first. We've got a couple of kind of preset levels of information that you can choose from up the top here, or you can customize your quote by clicking to add and remove whatever you do or don't want to include. This is already set up exactly as I like it, but for your benefit, I'm going to bring in everything to show you what it would look like. So we go create and edit. And if I head straight to the preview, you can see that I've got each of my phases and then my items, where I've got a quantity of hours and a specific rate that's broken out, and then I've got a total. Now, the reason why I tend to hide some of this stuff is because the way that I price items is varied across the job. So what I prefer is that my client just sees a total for the phase and a description of each line item that tells them exactly what they're getting. Now, as we scroll down, we're looking at our expenses down the bottom here. It may or may not be relevant for the client to see these at the time that I'm quoting, or I might prefer that they think that everything's being done in-house. Maybe that's a better offer for my client. So my print proofs, I'm going to merge up into the final art, because that's when we're going to be doing those. And you'll see that the total is now included here. If I want to reorder something and rename it, like this custom illustration allowance, I want to put that up in our concept development. And as far as the client's concerned, it's not an allowance. It's for a custom illustrated mark. I just don't know how much the exact cost is going to be yet. So that's why I put it as an allowance. So once I'm finished merging everything and I'm happy with the way everything is broken out, I'm going to delete this heading. Preview and send. I can see I've got a nice, neat quote with a total for each phase and a subtotal down the bottom. I'm happy with all of the content. I'm going to go ahead and send that directly to my client from Streamtime. Now, my client is going to be Julia. And when I send this to Julia, if I can type her email address, send.
You got it.
Thank you. I have the option to add her as a contact on that company as well. Now, if you're using Xero or MyOb or one of the other accounting packages that we integrate with, at the first time that you push a financial document across to that accounting package, that new company that we've created and that new contact for Julia is going to be created there as well, meaning that those two databases are always in sync. Now, Julia just received a client-facing version of this quote. We're not going to jump into it, but basically it looks exactly like this, but without the UI around the outside. And she has the option to approve, decline, or download the quote. Now, I'm going to manually approve it, which you do always have the option to do. If Julia approves it from her side, I'll get a notification to my email address that has happened. When we mark the quote as approved, what happens is, as Julia said, we set the budget on our job. So you can see that we can now see the total budget that's been approved is a fixed field. And what's also happened is those expenses that were included on our quote, regardless of whether or not the client knew that there were third-party costs, Streamtime knew. So it's gone ahead and marked those as approved so that I can spend those when I'm ready. The other thing we didn't touch on before is our dates and timelines. Okay, we're going to do that in just a sec. Activity panel. Sorry, such a
No, it's okay.
railroady host, aren't I?
No, you're good.
Sometimes we get asked about briefs, how to house briefs in Streamtime. Now, we don't do any native file storage within the product, and that is because it's a complex ask, right? Like there's storage involved, there's permissions, there's sharing, there's all the rest of it. So what we do instead is allow you to link to a URL of where you've got something saved anywhere that you can add text within the product. So what I've also got set up in here is a couple of brief templates. So this is a sample of the brief that I'm going to prepare for my team that outlines everything that the client has briefed me on. And you can see there's a link here to the external version of that document in Google Docs. Also a link to where the assets are saved. Having this on the job template, again, means that I can just edit this and all my briefs are going to be consistent. And I can tag my team when I'm ready for them to review it. So that's the activity panel. You'll see I've got a couple of other brief templates for if I had scoped this job slightly differently. Since I don't need those on this particular job, I'm just going to delete them. Dates and timeline.
Dates and timeline, yeah. So all of the dates that you have entered in from the timeline, obviously this was a timeline that was duplicated from the template that we have. So our timeline was created from back then when we were creating this. The up the top, you're adding milestones? Yes.
I'm moving them, but yeah.
Oh, you're moving? Okay, yep. So from this timeline view as well, you've got the ability to add in milestones, which, well, Brooke's not adding them, she's moving them now, but adding them would be following the same process anyway. And the milestones that you add up here will also be available to be shown up the top next to that activity panel. So under dates, you can choose to view milestones, items, also invoices. So you'll be able to see all of that there.
So the benefit of having a timeline already built out in the template is that I'm not starting from scratch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I already know as soon as I duplicate this template when I'm expecting to deliver this work based on our standard flow for this kind of project. If I need to make any adjustments, it's really easy for me to do that. So let's say the client wants to move really quickly and we're going to try and get through the creative outcomes in 1 week instead of our usual 2, and then we're going to do amends kind of in a couple of days. I can adjust those parts of the timeline and you see that everything else kind of comes along with it. I can then adjust the milestones that I have set out. You just saw me doing that before. But it means that I know when these hours that I've planned are expected to be in the studio and when my team's going to be working on them. Because what's really important to me is to understand how this new job that we've just had signed affects the capacity of my team. So I'm going to jump through and schedule it. But before I do that, I just want to show you guys the availability modal. So you can pull this down from anywhere in Streamtime by typing G and then A. No enter, no shift, no anything, just G followed by A, and it will bring down this. So this shows me by week or by month how available my team is based on what I've already got scheduled. So you can see that Otto is looking to have a bit of a squeezy week next week. He's already overbooked. He's looking to work an extra 2 hours. So I want to address that when I get to the schedule. What this toggle here does is lay all of the plan time that we haven't had a chance to schedule over the top of what's already been scheduled. So the job that I just planned out against these roles will be sitting down here. Now, this is the team that I'm looking to assign it to, so I can sort of have a look at how that new job is going to affect the team's availability. So it looks like Otto is the only kind of challenge I've got at the moment. So I'm going to assign the job. I can do that from here. So I can go, I'll show you both ways. So I'm going to assign Scout to all of the design time on this job. That's my dog. He's really great at brand identity work. Otto I'm going to assign as well. And then the other 2 I will do from the schedule. So to jump to schedule, I click view schedule. And from here, I can also assign my roll time. So just head up here, go assign roll time. So 3-dot menu. And as the account manager, I am going to choose yours truly. And as my design director, I am going to choose Luke. Now, if for whatever reason I didn't want to use Luke on this project, but I don't have any other design directors in that particular role, I can untoggle like this and I get my full list of the team. So maybe I want to bring in Michael, who's my technical director, or something similar. In this case, I am going to choose Luke, but just showing you that you can assign a role outside of that role if you need to. And now what I'm going to do is try and look for a day that works well for my team to have a workshop with the client. Now, from this view, I can see when we're expecting the workshop to happen. I can see a bit of a glance at how my team are already booked at the moment. So you can see this was that red that we were seeing for Otto and the availability. If I want to see specifically what's been booked on those days, I can go to to-dos, and it will show me the same data but grouped by team member instead of that kind of overview. So you can see the red again here. So I'm going to jump back to jobs and their items, and I am going to map in the workshop. So I'm going to put 3 hours here. I want to confirm that date with the client, so I'm going to write hold for now and create a to-do. Now, once I've created a to-do for one of my team, I can really easily hold down the option key to duplicate it to everyone else that needs to be in there, because they're all going to need to be in the workshop. I can also duplicate left and right. So if I want to hold that extra time for Scout to prep the day before, I can do that and then adjust the amount of time here. Or I can duplicate it and then drag it to adjust the length of time. So like so. For bigger chunks of time, we can schedule all the way across. We can go over the weekends as well. So if I want 8 hours for Scout to do the initial sprint, I can either drag it across the 2 days like this, or I can drag it all the way out across multiple days like this. Now, when we're creating these blocks of time for our team, we're obviously scheduling up against the hours that we've planned against the job, but this is probably too much detail for the individuals on our team. But fortunately, they're not going to be working from this screen. So our team is going to be mostly working from our to-do screen. So I am going to jump through to Scout's to-do screen to show you what that time that we've scheduled just then looks like. And Julia can talk to you about this screen.
So the to-do screen was created to say goodbye to the traditional timesheet. It's a place where you can manage and log tasks that have been scheduled to you, and you can manage your own tasks as well. So pretty much everything above the black line is work that has been scheduled and still needs to be completed, and anything below the black bar has been scheduled and logged, and your timesheet essentially has been created for that block of time. Now, to log your time against these to-dos, there's a couple of, two different ways you can go about doing it. One would be right-clicking it and starting a timer. A timer runs in the background for you. Another way, and more popular way with our customers, is just dragging that block of that to-do to below the black bar. And just like Brooke has done, that has logged your time. You can also right-click and select log. I lie, there's more than 2 ways of logging your time, but essentially it all works in the same way.
We get asked a lot about color, so we might as well talk about it while we're here. We use color quite sparingly in Streamtime, and it's because we want to focus people's attention to what's most important. So you'll see that on the to-do screen, today is always going to be shown in color, and the other days will be grayed. When you get to tomorrow, tomorrow is going to be colored, so on and so forth. If we jump forward a week, I can see the time that I just scheduled for Scout against that new project the following week, that new project when that workshop's looking to go ahead. So he can see that note that I've added, that it's a hold for the workshop. I've got hold for workshop prep and wrap here and here. And when we're logging time, when he gets to doing the workshop prep, if it happens to take him longer or shorter, he can adjust the block of time. And let's just say he runs over. We're going to show you how that looks on the job. The other thing we do want to talk about on the to-do screen is a happiness coach, hey?
Yes, the happiness coach. Do you have
so,
it? Yep.
As we said at the beginning, right, we are very invested on making sure that the health of your people is as healthy as your profit. And one of the ways that we do this is with the happiness coach. So this is the happiness coach should do on every week. It will show on the Friday, or as you saw, I didn't do mine last week, so it's showing on the Friday of the previous week. And it asks me, what was this week like at work? So to track my happiness, all I need to do is drag and drop this onto one of the emojis. So let's imagine that I had a really great week.
Imagine you didn't have a really great week.
No, I always have a great week. I'm always heart eye emoji when I'm at
Yeah.
genuinely.
It's the truth.
So last week I felt stimulated by my job. Now these 5 options that I have here are mapped against the smart work pillars, which we worked really closely with Curtin University, who developed these pillars to understand and implement these in the happiness coach. You can read more about that on our website. And it was particularly this job, the marketing assets for Apollo 11, that kept me feeling stimulated. So I can map that feeling to a particular job as well. Obviously, that's something that's important to us, so we want to share that with you. I know we're running a little bit over. I'm going to keep going because it's important. Feel free to drop off if you need to. The session will be recorded. So we are going to have a look at how that time that Scout has logged against the workshop is looking on the job itself. So you can see here it's tallied up the total amount that's been logged, which is 6 hours and 45. It's showing in red because it's more than what I had planned. It's also showing me the dollar amount that represents. But the overall is black because it's not yet that the whole item is over. It's just that one particular figure here. I also want to show you how we're going to invoice the job. Is that where we're going next? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I've tricked myself up. No, I'm on to invoice. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. So we're going to raise a commencement invoice for this job that we've just had signed off. We are also going to give it a job number because I know that it's an approved job. So I'm creating a new client code for this new company, Hay & Sons. It's going to be HAS. And then depending on how I number my jobs, this might be the next number in my sequence, right? So it might be 2409, or it might be 001 if I number by job for that client. I'm doing that because it's going to show on the invoice. I'm now going to head up and create my commencement invoice. I'm happy with everything, and I know that the quote's been approved. Creating an invoice, very similar to creating a quote. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose to reference the approved quote to create this invoice because I want everything to be formatted exactly as it was on the quote. Now, I'm going to create 3 invoices at once, potentially. So maybe I want to go 40, 30, 30. I can do that by marking this invoice at 40, this one at 30, and the final one at 30. I can then set the date for this one today, this one by the end of August, and this one by the end of September, and create 3 invoices all at once. I can also choose to create an invoice for just a particular phase or a percentage of a phase if I need to do that. You'll see I've now got my 3 invoices here, including my commencement, which I'm going to send out today. I am going to just edit the title of this invoice to 40% commencement. I am going to preview and send, make sure that it looks exactly what I'm hoping for. It is. Send it in the exact same way that I did before. In this case, I'm just going to mark it as sent, and then I'm going to copy it across to Xero, which is my accounting package. It's going to land in Xero as awaiting payment. You can see this blue arrow here lets me jump straight through to Xero if I want to see the invoice there. We're now going to jump back into the schedule. We already touched on the other views. I'm really keen to show the reporting just because it's new, it's exciting. We haven't shown it in a one-on-one before, but if you do want to learn more about this, we have a whole series of videos about reporting. So please do get in touch if you have questions about this. So this is what our new reporting looks like. When you first land in this area of Streamtime, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. And we have a number of templates that we've built out that will help you to sort of understand the data that you've got in Streamtime straight away, like from the first week or so that you're using it. So you'll see we've grouped these by category. We are also we're going to continue to add templates to this. So if I want to see my team time this month, so what's been logged and scheduled this month, I can choose this template, and everything is pre-calculated for me. So it's automatically jumping to July. It's grouped by role and then by job, and I can change that if I need to. But you can see here all of those individual time entries that have been logged. If we want to see the time that we just logged against that brand identity, you can see that here, and it's showing me also that time that I've scheduled that's in the future part of this month. So yeah, that's reporting. Very, very, very quick.
Very top level.
Very, very top level. The most top level I've ever talked about reporting. I think I love talking about reporting and in a lot of detail. So
yes.
about that, let me know. I can add in additional columns to any of the templates that I create. I can create formula columns. It really is a very exciting release that I'm not going to get into. The other sections of Streamtime that we didn't touch on, just to show you what they look like, are the dashboard. So this is a very kind of top line overview of what's happening in my account, and a few kind of key insights from Streamtime, as well as my overall happiness score. And if I want to learn more about any one of these, it's going to fold down to a graph or jump through to the resulting report. We also have Kanban. If you've used any kind of Kanban before, you know what this is. It's columns and cards. The benefit of this, which is what we call priorities in Streamtime, is that all of this data is live, right? So I'm not having to populate any of these cards. All I need to do is add one. So potentially I've got this job that has just been won. It's HAS. I can add a job card like that, and then I can choose to bring in all of the data that I just added to that job. And you'll see that the card's been pre-populated. I can see the team, I can see what's been used, and I can see the overall budget for the job. Then as I move it, I'm getting smart totals updating down the bottom. So that's all the areas of Streamtime. Anything I missed?
No, I think you've covered it all. For a 101, a lot of detail.
34 minutes.
34 minutes. Yeah, solid.
Sorry, I just stopped handing the mic to you at some point, but
no, it's okay.
Thanks for being my passenger princess, as always.
Yes, of course. Thanks for being the driver. Thanks everyone for joining us. As Brooke mentioned, this session is recorded, so you'll receive a link to it, I think, in the next half hour or so if you want to watch back. If you have any questions, please shoot those through to help@streamtime.net. Will you do a follow-up session which delves into reporting? We have a reporting series, Angie. I can email you those videos, so keep an eye out for that email. I think that's everything, right? Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope to see you again soon. And that's it.
That's it.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Rocco. Oh,
so many people.